Hello everyone, welcome back to another tomato sauce stream. Today we're going to be going over some new stuff. We've got leaks, we've got the GRF which has just happened. Because we've just had a GRF, we'll have a ban list in the near future, so we're going to be predicting what we think might be happening there. And I did go ahead and get sick over the weekend, so we also have a cold. Hopefully will last the entire stream duration. But just streaming with like a sore throat and a headache is never like a fantastic experience. So we'll see. We're all drugged up right now. We'll see how long we can keep this going for. But for now, we're just going to, I think, we'll chat for a little bit and then we're going to hop in and check out some stuff. We do have some new speed stuff as well as some new rush stuff. We'll probably get the speed stuff out of the way first so we can focus on the rush stuff and really dive into it. So first things first, let's see who is around. We have the Dr. Alex in the chat, my partner in crime. We have Kuova. Good morning, Kuova. We have Dragson. Haven't seen Dragson in a little while. I hope you're doing alright, Dragson. Obviously you're saying night, so I'm going to assume you're probably off to bed. So is that Kuro-sama? Sup? We have Monosync in the chat, one of the... What's the best way to sum Monosync up? One of the most dedicated and one of the best members of the Rush Duel Links community. Runs his tournaments every Monday. Used to run the no skill tournaments, which were a lot of fun. Now it's more meta relevant tournaments as well as specific ban list tournaments when the meta gets stale. So always a fun time to play in his tournaments. I really want to play in the one yesterday, but I was actually babysitting yesterday and thus did not get a chance to actually play. I was not free until well after the tournament started, which was a shame. We have Mr. Bad Time. Insects. Insects are in a weird spot. We did just get some new cards, but we're still missing. There aren't actually a lot of insects we don't have anymore, right? We're kind of just missing Deinastorcus as like the big insect. So it's a bit weird that there's just like some we just haven't gotten yet. And we've got almost all of the rest of them. And I feel like if they just gave us all of the insects without a skill, they're still not going to be very good. But they'd be a lot more playable, right? It's like we were talking about how to build an insect deck yesterday. And it was basically like, yeah, just put them with a Metarian package or just put them with like an aggro package. And I'm like, that's not really insects. It's a bit weird. Is that Paris in the chat? I'm here to say Psychic is the most healthy deck ever, and they shouldn't hit it at all. Just hit Dark Galaxy because I don't like it. So I'm actually of a similar opinion to Paris. I think Psychic is the best deck, right? I think that's a little bit hard to argue against that. I still don't actually think the deck feels unfair. I'll go into this. We'll go into it a bit more detail when we actually do like the meta review. But Psychic on paper is a lot fairer than a lot of other decks that you've actually had. It's just in practice that's not the case, right? But again, we'll get over that. We'll cover that when we like get deeper into that. But my spoiler alert, my opinion is I really like this meta that we're in right now. The only negative, really, of this meta for me is Psychics are a little bit overrepresented, right? So if we could tone Psychics representation down a little bit, I think the meta would be in a good spot. That's, again, just personal preference. That's just my opinion. I really like it at the moment. Hello, Mr. Tomato Sauce. How are you doing? How did you do in the GRF? The GRF was fun. We only got to play on the last day. And we only actually played, I want to say we played for about 2 hours. We did not play a ton. So my goal was basically just get the top 1,000. And we basically did that quite easily. It was basically pretty free. I mean, when you play on the last day and you're playing the best deck in the room, it's going to be pretty free. I think we ended on like an 89% win rate, something like that. It was very easy. It was a very easy climb through. We didn't do super well. We didn't play that long. But I had fun playing in it, so, there's that. But hello... God, how do we even pronounce that? Rustada. We'll go for Rustada. The Rebels fanboy is here. Hello. Kuro-sama. Is this going to be a drug-fueled chat? Well, I mean, possibly. Is that Dwan in the chat as well? Hello, hello. Yapping stream. It's always a yapping stream, Neo. It's just sometimes we like to call it out because some people show up and they're like, why aren't you playing the game? And it's like, I would play the game if there was time after the yapping, but there's no time after the yapping. And I'm an old man, which means I can't yap while I play unless I'm yapping about playing. That's just one of the many issues that I personally have. Monosync, the Rush community go. Exactly, Hans, exactly. And also, welcome on in, Hans. Obviously, saw you did very, very well in making top 100 also. In fact, probably a lot of top 100s here in the chat. Obviously, Paris did really, really well. Neo, I don't remember where you came, Neo. I assume you made top 100 or at least close to top 100. I'm good, and it not night here. I just being funny. I see. Well, I hope things are going alright for you, Dragon. I hope you're in a good place right now. Let's put it that way. Monosync my goat. The real and base take. Exactly. There's so many Psychic fans, right? We can't have Psychics get hit. Okay, not especially when there's like other problem decks running around that, although are underperforming by comparison statistically looking at the GRF, still in my opinion are more problematic. Konami just bugging not giving us more insects. Exactly. Thanks to all the goat for the support. I mean, you know, if you give to the community gives back, right? It's unfair if your brain only has one cell. So I think, for me, Psychic Mirrors are really fun. I know a lot of people don't like Psychic Mirrors. And again, if you don't have Psychic or you don't like Psychic, you're not going to like the format, right? That's just how it's going to go. I think some of the mirrors are really, really fun. Like, even back when we had HTI meta, and HTI meta was pretty rough, HTI mirrors was still really fun, and there was a lot of skill expression in a HTI mirror. Like, you could outplay your opponent quite hard. So, like, Also, thank you for the follow, NinjaGo. Welcome, welcome. Alright, now we're getting too much chat. I've got to scroll up now. I no longer playing Duel Links. What is new? We just had GRF. We have Dark Galaxy. Psychic Fusion is a new deck that's popping off quite a lot. What was the other new deck? Worm Fusion. That's a new, like, powerful deck. I need to also make sure my music hasn't stopped. Yeah, that looks fine. Is that L9 Ray with the balls? As per usual. Ray! No, Psychic needs to be the only deck ever. Oh, I don't know about that, but, you know. Is that Ari in the chat as well? Another top 100 finisher. Keck W. My problem is Cyber Dragon being too common in ranked experience, so I would love to have it get hit to leave room for other decks to become more relevant, ranked-wise. I don't know if it will, though, especially since Konami tend to hit decks based on their performance in the GRF. I think just because they didn't do super well in the GRF, they are unlikely to get hit. Now, that's not like a defined rule. It's just a trend that we do notice, so we'll have to see if it actually does get hit or not. Just release another deck that require thinking. There's barely any of those, though, Monosync. That's the problem. Yo, Tomato, hello, Duke. Fun, the fuck is that? Well, the thing is, right, fun and skill expression to me go hand in hand. It's like, I really like a deck that allows me to outplay my opponents, whereas a lot of the time I feel like decks don't have much counterplay, and it's one of the reasons I like Psychic, is because technically all of the good trap cards in the format right now are good into Psychic. So, like, there is counterplay there. There's more counterplay than there is to some other decks, at least, at the very least. But, you know, in practice, it ends up that the Psychic's just so good it doesn't matter, right? Darth Victor's in the chat. Hello, hello. You're not old. You look younger than me. Well, I am, let's just say, right, without giving too much away, because that'd be boring. I am in my 30s, so we'll leave it at that for now. You can guess which end of 30 I am. Do you think the 9th series of Yu-Gi-Oh! Will feature Ritual? I would expect so. Psychic Nerf when? Hello, CZ. I would imagine Psychic Nerf to be coming through in the next few days, at least the list to be, like, revealed. I did think the KC Cup ban list was going to take a lot longer to get shown off, and that was only, like, 3 or 4 days after the KC Cup, so I would expect this one to be in a similar time frame. Hi, by the way. Rip Drags in. Ban Negate Attack. I mean, Negate Attack is one of those things that I don't think it will get banned, but it might get moved around a bit. We'll have to see what actually happens to it. Is Darth Victor an old man? I mean, potentially. Is that Pro Manicust in the chat as well? Where's new leaks? Also hi. We haven't started that yet. We're still doing the introductions, Manicust. New skills, I think. Hi, Gramp. I feel like Fusion. Fusion Psychic is not as toxic as the previous skill, so I'm happy. I think I agree with that. The previous skill was busted. The new skill is still really good, but I feel like it's not because of the skill that Psychic's good, it's because of the cards that Psychic's good. Whereas the previous Psychic deck, I felt like it was because of the skill that Psychic was good. Yes. I'm not even 30. HTI is what got me for my first top 100. Odd Eyes with Odd Eyes Raging Dragon deck. Good old Odd Eyes. Hello, Tomato says so. Hello, Giorfio. Is that a top 10 finisher in the chat? Welcome, welcome. Dragon needs to think what to get hit before Red Reboot. People call me 7 years older than I am. It's probably like the massive facial hair that you have, Darth Victor. That's going to be my guess. I have no idea if you actually have facial hair. How are you doing, Tomato? I mean, apart from having a cold, I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. Why would you play Rush if you like outplaying? Ooh, rip. Bruv, you are old as fuck. I mean, I never said I wasn't. Like, I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh! When it very first came out, right? As a child, I was watching Duel Monsters, like, Pegasus's Island, like, Duelist Kingdom arc on television. I bought the very first Yugi and Kaiba starter decks. I was playing on the playground with the OG cards. That's how old we are. 3. Rush needs more strong decks like Psychic instead of nerfing the strong decks. The problem is when you power creep stuff, you have to make sure you power creep it in the right way, right? 1, you can't power creep it in such a way that it completely invalidates everything old. 2, you can't ramp up too quickly, because then, for example, if we get a lot of the powerful Go Rush stuff, that's going to invalidate a lot of the later 7 stuff that we still haven't got. So we still have a lot of 7's decks that are still yet to come out. Now, you can get away with it if you give them broken skills, but the more broken the skills get and the higher power level the format gets, the quicker games get and the less counterplay you have to deal with those threats, because the power level of the format rises so high, which means we need good trap cards. Now, to be fair, we did get Rice Terrace, and that has changed like the way we play quite a lot. Having just an extra trap, so now we have 3 traps in the deck instead of 2, is a big deal, but I still feel like we need more. You can call me Victor or Darth. No need for the full name. I mean, Victor's an actual name. Darth is like a title, so I'll go with Victor, I think. 311. Tremble. Rush Despair. Speed has come to this month. Die Rush. Hello, Kim friend. Welcome, welcome. I'm guessing 34. Oof, I don't know if I should be offended by that. You don't look that old, Tomato. You look really young. I mean, I don't know if I should take that as a compliment or not. I don't know if that means I'm baby-faced or if I'm... baby-faced, I guess is anything there. Cocaine inhaler in chat. Seems like it's rare for a game to buff other decks and not nerfing the good ones. I guess nerfing is less effort. That is true. And also, again, it stops you from, like, creeping too hard, I guess. I'm still positive Kim Friend soon will be a Rush duelist. Kim Friend does play a bit of Rush. I don't have facial hair. I can't even grow facial hair. I mean, I barely grow this. This is all I can manage, basically. The problem with NA is practically no matter where you move it, it will just simply shove the card that was played there. Well, like, if you put it to limit 3, suddenly, a lot of decks are going to be like, well, my deck is built around this limit 3, and now I can't use it. I can't, like, play 3 copies, so that then maybe, right? Because your limit 3s are typically your build-arounds. It's your main boss monsters. It's going to be the heart and soul of your deck. So, like, maybe? Same lol. Hello, Corey. In recent episode of Go Rush U, he finally becomes... Wow, big spoilers there, Duke. Whoa, crazy. But yeah, the recent episodes of Go Rush have been really, really exciting. Pretty much since we got the new summoning mechanic introduced. Which, by the way, they haven't gone back to. They haven't, like, touched on it at all. I'm just like, ah! But other than that, since then, it's been very, very exciting to watch every single episode. Kim Friend number 1 Rush fan. Open DLM website. I mean, I've already got the DLM website up. I mean, behold. Look, there it is. Whoa! But we're not ready for that just yet, Kim Friend. We're not ready just yet. It would be cool seeing Kim Friend not complaining about anything for just existing. Listen, it's just not in his nature, okay? Kim Friend, he knows what he's about. He's built this identity. He has a reputation to uphold. And if he was to do anything to go back on that, he would look weak. So he has to double down. That's just how this works. Are you excited for ritual summoning? Yes! I am very excited. I've been wanting rituals in Rush for so long. And they basically look like they're implementing them how I wanted them to implement them. So, like, it's like a double win for me, right? Let's go Rush, Kim Friend. Kim Friend, best Rush. This is now just the Kim Friend stream, apparently. A Rush match longer than speed that I don't like, and luck depend still. Yeah, but you still need to rely on luck in any card game, including speed. Now, to be fair, some of the skills in speed do make it so that you almost have a guaranteed chance of like finding your starter, for example. But even then, there is still like luck involved, right? Why don't you duel, Tomato? I mean, there will be dueling probably at some point. Don't worry about it. If I'm excited, not really, because I haven't played Rush mainly. They will show Ritual in episode 139. We'll have to wait and see. I think they, like, I was hoping they would show it in like 136, but you know. I was going to say, don't tell people 139 summary. Kim Friend loves Rush now. Ursus is in the chat. Hello. I'm excited for Tomato to react on Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush episode 139. The only card game I know that you don't need luck is Digimon. I mean, even Digimon, like, has some luck. Again, card games tend to, like, mitigate the amount of luck required. And a lot of games do this, like, quite well. But there's still always an element of luck, right? If you're drawing from a deck, there will always be some element of luck, right? The only thing I'll be excited for in Rush is either Rebels getting support, or Unlimited, or Red Eyes or Magnets coming to the format. Out of all of that, I would expect Red Eyes to come first, but I would not still... Realistically, it won't happen until Fusion gets introduced, but as soon as in, like... maybe it could. Because, right, so the Go Rush Fusion stuff, I think we'll start with Luke. I think we'll get the Luke as the playable character. Then we'll get the Go Rush Fusions. Now, that is only really limited to the anime Go Rush Fusions. Red Eyes is not an anime deck. So because we already just have the fusion mechanic, theoretically, we can get the Red Eye stuff whenever, as long as it won't power creep everything else. Now, the Red Eyes deck has never been, like, crazy strong in the OCG. Like, it's playable, but, like, it's not insanely powerful. There are a lot of, like, free plussing and a lot of consistency tools, so you couldn't just give it to us at full power. But feasibly, we could get Red Eyes Fusion support relatively soon. Like, I don't think that would, like, break the game or anything. We also still don't know what multiple cards now already have the line about can't return spell traps to the extra deck. Doesn't look like it has to do with Ritual. Are you a strong duelist, Victor? I mean, Victor's a decent player. Who would win a Rush duel? Kim Friend or Tomato? I mean, I like to think I'd win, but I don't know. Depends on what deck I play. Red Eyes is 6k life point format. Yep. Well, you don't need Infernal Fire Blast, right? You don't have to give us Infernal Fire Blast. So, like... And if you do, you could just limit one it in the same way that like Burst Stream Destruction is. I wish I could see you guys do once. Technically, Red Eye's deck is a 7s card because Otis played it. Well, yeah, but we're talking about the deck, not, you know, the one card, right? We're talking about the fusion strategy with Summon Skull and all the cards that can change their name to Red Eyes or Summon Skull, so you can play, you know, the Meteor Dragon stuff, the Black Meteor Dragon, the Black Skull Dragon, all that stuff. That's what we're talking about. That bit seems interesting. DLM. Well, now that we finally got into the bottom of the chat, I think we will actually head over to DLM. So, what do you mean Otis played 3 cards and used Summon Skull? Oh man, that's crazy. That's a whole deck. That's a whole deck right there. Wonder if Lightwave Dragon is enough to make Blue Fang a deck. Potentially. It'll be a punish for overextending, and it will always allow for a comeback, right? Now, will that be enough? Maybe. Maybe. Yeah, I don't want it to be a burn deck, and it's just one of the few things I'm excited about Red Eyes. I mean, Red Eyes is a cool deck, right? Give us Inferno Fire Blast at 1. Yeah, I mean, that's basically what we were saying earlier. Sorry, I had to joke when you said that. As Yuhi Ota's stronger than 7s. Alright. So, I guess we'll hit refresh in this case if there's anything new. The first thing we're going to go and take a look at is the tier list update, right? Because we have a tier list update for speed. There's nothing, like, insane in here. Because for the most part, this is just, there's no changes. But there are 2 new decks that did come out with the new box, so this goes over them just a little bit. The meta has largely solidified at this point. Predator Plant stands out as one of the strongest decks with the fewest bad matchups in the meta. Ghost Trick has seen good tournament results lately, being perceived as a counter to Predator Plant. However, unlike Predator Plant, it suffers from some very unfavorable matchups. And it's just Dwan basically carrying this again. It seems that Infernoble hasn't found a reliable solution to the Predator Plant matchup. We have Hydra being able to tribute. The Charles is a significant problem because of the Tauti Dragon. You can't use Buffer or Battling Box of Veil to stop a lethal push. The addition of Red Eye's Darkness Metal Dragon could potentially strengthen Borrowlink by providing more extensions and recovery options. You could even use Black Metal Dragon to search Red Metal Dragon. Red Eye's Darkness Metal Dragon, Red MD. I need to remember Red MD. I've played formats with Red MD in it. I need to remember its the word I'm looking for, abbreviation. Red Eye's Black Meteor Dragon. However, the issue is that there are no Dragon type Link 1 monsters currently in the game. This means you'd have to rely on Linkaribo to link off Black Metal Dragon, but it can't be used to summon any of your Link 2 monsters since it's a Cyber type monster, which may be problematic when building a board. Emotional birds falling. I mean, they're still going to be around, right? It's still yellow button meta. I mean, yeah, that's like not inherently an awful thing. To be fair, there isn't much to say because there's like 0 changes. I mean, yeah, it's basically like 2 new decks, right? I had no idea of what to say. That I didn't already say previously. I mean, yeah, you don't have to leave a message with every single one, right? I think that's completely fine, especially since like it's just basically an introduction of one tiny box with what 5 new cards. This card is pseudo-staple in a dragon deck, but I don't think there is currently a strategy that's able to abuse this card. However, decks like Borrowlink can boost its recovery thanks to Darkness Metal being able to revive dragons, including Borrowload dragons, while also being usable for Borrowload Link. So this is the interesting shit, right? So we've got the 2 new decks. We've got Dragoonity and we got Hieratic. Now, I did watch Grand play some Hieratic yesterday. The deck didn't look insanely strong, but again, it's going to be like day 1 build. There's probably going to be like, you know, it'll probably take a little while to like solidify, but the deck didn't look like anything completely nuts. Dragoonity was the one I was more excited for personally. I thought that deck looked more cool. I don't necessarily think it's going to be insane, but that was the one I was more excited for. Because I have actually played both of these decks, so I at least have like a little bit of investment in it. So while I'm usually out of my depth, I'm actually uniquely qualified to talk about Dragoonity, as it's one deck I know inside out. Dragoonity has received a skill in Dragon Piercing Lance and 2 cards in, how do we even pronounce this? A red bear? Let's go with that. And Whirlwind, the skill also adds Romulus, Obulate, and Glow to the deck. That being said, despite my personal affection for the deck, Dragoonity is in a horrendous position to do anything in this meta. Firstly, to be blunt, the skill is just not good. Not only does the skill lock you out of Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, something Dragoonity can make easily with Gale Dig, it also generates no card advantage with a deck so hingent on Dragon Ravine and discards for its consistency and effects. The skill can be underwhelming and is a huge detriment in my opinion. The shuffle back is fine since it lets you run only a single Dragoonity course. But the really... Koos. Why is that called... but it really should have the Dragoonity Lance for free on top of the search target. In the status and now, Dragoonity can use 3 cards to establish a monster effect negate with a red bear and ST negate with Obulate. Fairly reliably, it can also, with a special hands, buttress... I mean, we don't need to, like, read all of this. There's quite a lot of text there. But the gist is, it doesn't seem to be very good, which is a shame. Poor Dragoonity. I get announced cards, playable lessons with most likely ritual. Both skill restrictions are stupid. I'm guessing a week to a month. It's weird. I feel like it was very interesting that we got the new skills that almost seemed too fair. I guess they were like scared of these decks like being really, really good, but then like some skills have like the lamest restrictions ever and just let you do like whatever you want. So I don't know. It's a bit weird. Let's have a look. With Kaido, I don't think that. I think the Ritualist Street Monster. Tri-Brigade, Lyrilusk Bros will be happy. I mean, we'll have to take a look at that in a sec. No birds cringe. Red Boot is coming. I'm excited for Brigades, Melfi, and Brigades for hires. What about Pure Brigades, right? You know, who doesn't love that? Or Zoo Brigades? Although I don't think we have, like, do we have any Zoo? I don't know if we have any Zoo in Duel Links. It's not Tri-Brigade skill. What in the world is this song? I recognize it, but not what. I mean, this one is Mimi's theme. Turn 1 Hieratic can set up a negate if your opponent targets any of your cards through Holocaust, along with Banishment or Reflection, 2-card combo. A 3-card combo, your follow-up usually a survives your opponent, Creation. The issue is that this follow-up might not be enough, as Hieratics require a lot of resources to make plays. Yeah, this is one of the issues I feel like that's letting these decks down, is their skills are just mid, right? I don't know. Like, these are two decks that I would love to actually play, Dragoonti and Hieratic, but the skills compared to some other skills just seem mid. Just seem super mid. Tomato, do we have rush leaks, or is this all speed? We have rush leaks! We have skill leaks, Manicus. We have skill leaks for rush. We're getting the speed stuff done first, so we can just do pure rush after. Remember when Quantum Rush gaslighted us into thinking that Bubble Era was a good deck? I think it was mainly Shelmy that was, like, really pushing the Bubble Era deck. Mind you, I think I got top 4 with Bubble Era. So, like, I really enjoyed the deck personally. I thought it was a really cool deck. I think Tomato likes Spellcasters. I mean, Spellcasters are cool. Yeah, the issue, a lot of people forgot about Community's Effect. It was at level 7. I'm excited for the new Morphtronics. I am using my Morphtronic Power Tool Beatdown deck for everything PvE since the 5Ds era. I mean, yeah, I've never been like a massive fan of Morphtronics, but, you know, I could appreciate them. And they're obviously an anime deck. I think Maximum is forgotten. I mean, like, maybe in the anime. I mean, kind of. We did just have, like, a Maximum episode in the anime, so. When will they unlimit Bubble Era field spell? Never, Monosync. They never allowed it. By the way, Tomato, I got new info for you. Okay. It's such a shame Hieratic skill forces the deck to go basically Xyz and can't do any synchro plays. Only due to the level 5 and above dragon restriction, ironically locking you out of 2 Hieratic monsters. Yeah, it's very weird. You didn't like Morphtronics to the gallows. I mean, Morphtronics is, like, it's fine. It's just never been an archetype I've been, like, particularly interested in. Like, there used to be, like, a funny Morphtronic OTK people used to try and pull off with, like, Boomboxing and Radeon. But, like, that was super basic. Konami is finally going to make an evolved form of Ancient Fairy Dragon. Okay, that's kind of cool. New cards for Metarion and, like, I mean, we don't have any new card leaks yet, as far as I'm aware. Well, not for Rush, anyway. I think it's just Konami made the skills fair, and it's not good enough to break the very skill-reliant decks in the current meta, or Konami is scared of either decks becoming... I mean, if we just go and take a look at this box, right, there's literally only 5 new cards. So, like, it's not even like there's a ton going on here. We finally got Red MD, which, like, Red MD's cool, but to me, it really feels like we're just really trying to make sure that Dragon Link isn't a thing in Duel Links, right? We still don't have Striker. We don't have Romulus outside of a skill. We still don't have Spheres. We don't have the Guard Dragons. So, like, there's so much, or so many, like, Dragon Link tools that Konami's like, no. I guess it's because they want you to be playing archetypes. They want you to be playing anime decks and archetypes. And it's like, Dragon Link is, like, not that, right? That's what you're not. If you're getting the manga decks, there's just kind of cards. Good night, Tomato. I'm going to go to bed. Well, good night, Duke. I hope... I mean, I don't know what time it is where you are, but here it's, like, midday, so... But, I mean... If you want to play one of these decks, this box is not bad, right? It gives you pretty much most of what you're going to want. I was hoping that a red bear would be, like, good, but seems like it's not just because of the skill. I remember Tomato said about Gadget Maximum Monster. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's on here, but we can have a look. Yeah, it is. Yeah, this is the Gadget Maximum. So, maximum gadget, the moving fortress, and the left and the right piece. It's pretty cool. It's like, it's nothing like crazy, it's nothing insane, but it's like, it's decent. Like, it's okay. It doesn't matter to me, as a Red Eyes enjoy it anyways. I'll hunt for a copy of Darkness Metal, and if I happen to get the Hieratics, I won't mind. I mean, that's always good. Gadgets would be cool to come. The other thing is, the gadgets have, like, drastically changed. So, like, if we look at Yellow here, for example, this is, like, the original Yellow gadget. So, during the turn that you normal summon this card, you can add a green gadget from your graveyard to your hand. So, we don't search from the deck, because there is no deck searching in Rush Duel. They had to redesign them, so now they grab them from the graveyard. But you can only use this effect of Yellow Gadget, or you cannot activate the effect of Yellow Gadget this turn, which means if you have another copy, you can't just infinitely gain resources. So, like, the main issue is the issue aren't even exactly these decks, in my opinion, but the other decks in the format. So that's always going to be the case, right? There's always going to be a lot of moving pieces that you have to balance around. But I do feel like you could also just give their skill a buff, which forces it to be good. Because no matter what, you can basically make a skill read, you win the game, nothing else matters, right? You can do that with skills, you have the ability to. Now, we don't do that because the game wouldn't be fun. But you can make a skill as busted as you want. You could make the skill give you like a +6 and automatically set up your boss monster, throw it up like, and make it uninteractable. Like, there's so much you can do with skills. And obviously they're choosing not to. They're choosing to try and force them to be balanced. And I don't even think the new skills are bad. They're too fair. Like people have been saying, they don't give you advantage. They don't give you anything for free. They don't skip a load of the steps that you'd otherwise have to like walk through. They're just kind of consistency tools. Whereas a lot of other skills right now are like, oh, you could just have your boss monster for free. Don't worry about it. Here's your starter. Don't even worry about it. Here's a free +2. And we'll also do like an extra effect on top. Like some of the skills that we have right now are kind of bonkers. Now, to be fair, those skills typically are for decks that have worse cards in them. So, for example, one of the ones we'll be looking at soon is a leaked one, which helps out with Rainbow Neos and with Armed Neos, which getting those cards out is next to impossible, which is why we have these skills, right? It's good to recycle stuff in the graveyard. Oh no, I mean, it's because you would loop. I mean, yeah, 100%. 100% you would just loop them. It would be absolutely ridiculous. The problem with the gadget deck is the gadgets themselves, you play them in two different ways, right? Either you use them to get back the max pieces, at which point you're going to maximum summon over your gadgets, so you haven't actually gained anything. You basically read the gadgets as replace this card for a maximum piece. So you don't plus, technically, because you do plus, but then you're immediately going to throw your gadgets to the bin, so you're not actually plussing. Or you don't summon a maximum, you just use them to grab like other copies of themselves, for example, and then you like mass tribute everything off, and then you gain value from doing it that way. It's a bit weird. It is a bit weird. Yeah, exactly what I mentioned. Before I go, one last question. What can you say about Multiverse, Tomato? I mean, the multiverse is going to be interesting to see where we go with it. It is also kind of spoilery. There's not really much to say, right? Like, it'll be interesting to see where the story goes. Simply give me a skill that turns the deck back to the board state it was 5 minutes ago, just cause. I mean, that would be funny if you just want the game to take an extra 5 minutes, I suppose. Neo's fusion makes those fusions with one card, to be fair. I mean, that's fair enough. I've never been a huge hero player, like, past, like, I guess Edison, right? So I played like a little bit of like the masked hero stuff, but like I've never summoned a Neos, Rainbow Neos, right? So I haven't like seen what like the more modern versions of the deck looks like. The new Pot of Greed skill is kind of cool. I don't think I've looked at that yet, Dragon. In Garage, I also thought gadgets would be a decent tribute fodder engine. like with aggro decks. I mean, potentially. The issue is we have so many ways to plus anyway, like within decks, actual archetypes within their types, that you don't really need like just the gadgets to do it for you. It's a bit of a weird one. Nobody without a brain, nobody without brain damage is a hero player. I think heroes are like, they're a cool concept, right? And there's a lot of basic floodgates in like Master Duel or like TCG hero. So the decks kind of become, I'm just going to turn off all your shit, right? You know, you're going to summon out like Dark Claw, summon out, what's his name? What's the one that turns off all your opponent's monster effects? Plasma. Summon out Plasma. Or Blue D. It's never been my cup of tea, just like making a bunch of floodgates personally, but you know. When do rankings GRF usually come? We already have the rankings. Fuck that deck. Someone who despises heroes, I want to thank you. Either normal add super poly or floodgate turbo. Give cringe. I mean, that is absolutely fair enough. Plasma, thank you, Ethan. Thank you. Although my dislike for heroes comes from them being overrated and milked to death rather than being strong. I mean, I think it's fine for like fan favorite anime decks to get a lot of support. I think that's basically completely fine. But that is basically us done with the speed stuff. I say that there's still going to be a little bit of the leaks. I think we'll get the speed leaks out of the way. And then we'll start talking about some of the rush stuff. So, first things first, we have card database modifications. A list of cards that Konami have messed with recently. This is purposefully vague. This does not guarantee they're coming, but as a prediction tool for the next 1 to 3 months, not on the list, can still come. Don't worry and keep coping. Now, the biggest issue with this is we keep having these big chunky lists of cards that have been edited. And so many cards have still yet to come out. We had the dinosaurs and the doodle beasts that I have been sat here waiting for so long, and we still haven't got anything. Where are my dinosaurs? Where are my doodle beasts? I get a lot of people are hyped for Dragon Maids. That's fine. You can be hyped for your shit. Give me my dinosaurs. I just want to play dinosaurs. I have collected pretty much every good dinosaur card that is currently in the game on my speed account, waiting for the dinosaur support to drop. It's in the code. The cards have been edited. Release them. Give me my dinosaurs, Konami. But yeah, speed leaks are huge. I'm still waiting for BEF Zelos. That's what we trust and missing for BES. Right, well, let's take a look. Let's take a quick look at these cards, right? So we have Amazement. Amazement isn't a deck I've ever been like super into. Like, it's a cool gimmick. It's just not something I personally am super interested in. Then we get Brigrand, the Glory Dragon. So just more Dogmatica Albaz kind of support. I still am I have always been a big fan of Branded. I really like Branded as a deck. I don't really like the floodgatey Branded, but I like just the regular Branded deck. So like any more Branded cards I'm going to be quite happy for. And that kind of extends to Dogmatica as well, because I like Dogmatica as well. Then we've got Mythical Beast of the Forest. I think. Then the big ones are going to be the Dragon Maids, right? Everyone is excited for Dragon Maids. Who doesn't like Dragon Maids, right? Even if you're not a big fan of like the aesthetic of this deck, I think the way it plays is still pretty cool. Is Dragon Maid going to suddenly be like crazy competitive? I mean, its bosses are pretty good. Its generic gimmick of like tagging out into the bigger monsters, but like, plus Chamber Dragon Maid and Tidying are just two good tools for like a Dragon Link pile as well, right? So like, it's also just good generic support for dragons. Give us Branded Fusion, make the game cool again. I would love that personally. I want Branded Fusion. That's just me. As long as Branded doesn't Puppet Lock, it's a really cool deck. Yeah, I mean, it's the Puppet Lock stuff is the stuff I really don't like, and I think that's when people started really hating Branded. I like the non-Puppet Lock stuff, right? As a beast enjoyer, that Mythical Beast is Pog. Dragon Maids is mid to me. The Maid theme makes me cringe. So like the Maid theme doesn't like bother me too much, but I know a lot of people love the cute girl decks, right? The same people that really like Sky Striker. And I understand why, but because of that, I would expect Dragon Maid to be split up, right? I would not be surprised at all if some of these Dragon Maids are like in a deck build, then they'll put some in a mini box, then they'll throw some into like a selection box, and they'll just put them all over the place. Because that's what they did with Sky Striker, right? And I think the cute girl archetypes are the ones that you can do that with, and the dedicated players will still do it, right? Desperation for waifu scares me. But yeah, Dragon Maid is a good card, along with obviously Tidying. Like, those are going to be like the generic ones that are going to slot into anything. There's Crosskeeper. It's Elemental Hero support. Fine. I can't remember what this Dogmatica card does. If a Fusion X uses graveyard, you can special summon this card from the hand. If this card is special summoned from your hand, you can target a Dogmatica card in the graveyard, add it to your hand. When an opponent's monster goes to attack, you can make all Dogmatica monsters go 500 attack. But he's fine. Nothing like crazy, but he's fine. Genesis, again, Genesis is like pretty good. It's a weird one, right? But a lot of the Dogmatica cards are just kind of generically really good. Dogmaticism as well. Crosskeeper, nice. Kimfriend just engaging with us because we're talking about speed. This is nice. Might be good card with those Darkness Metal being in the game, or if Konami gives them a bonkers skill card, wouldn't be surprised if they do. Nadir Servant's kind of crazy. Yeah, Nadir Servant down here as well, which again is a really good card. I don't know, because like we'll probably just add Ecclesia, right? That's going to be like the add. We do have Ecclesia in the game. I'm pretty sure I own Ecclesia. I just wanted to double check. Yeah, we have Ecclesia. Yes, I own this card on my speed account. I was like, I'm sure I own Ecclesia, but I still had to double check. So I still haven't used it yet. I own the card. I've yet to put it into a deck. Because, like, the only Dogmatica list I think that's doing much of anything is the, like, Dogmatica Fleur deck. And then we got all the Dragon Maid cards. We're not going to go over all of these. Is there anything notably missing here? We got Welcome. We're missing one of their continuous spell cards, right? No, is it Changeover that I thought we were missing? We have Welcome, we have Changeover. I'm trying to remember. I haven't actually played this deck myself. I played against it a bunch. I don't remember if there was another spell card that they're missing here. Are we also missing some of the maids? We're missing the blonde one. What's her name? Kitchen Dragon Maid? No, this one's Kitchen Dragon Maid. What's the blonde one called? Parlor Dragon Maid? So we don't have all of them. We've got Laundry down here, by the looks of things. So even if these do come out, which again, we have a leaked skill, so they're probably coming out. It looks like we're not going to get them at full power just yet. But we are going to have Xiao, and we're going to get House Dragon Maid. And House Dragon Maid is a house, so it's going to be pretty nuts. And Garura should have called it Dogmaticarocism. Dogmaticarocism? Okay. Extra deck racism. It's about the send. And we have Albaz 2. Don't know much about those cards. Boost Dogmatica. I think the deck needs the rituals. The Staple de Fleur. IRC, it's Parlor. Yeah, Parlor, that one. Because Parlor isn't here, right? The blonde one just isn't here. Unless I'm blind. I could be blind, but I don't see it. Oh no, there it is. There's Parlor. So they're all here then. Is anything missing? Is anything missing at all? I think this is everything. Wait, so Tidying's here as well. We're probably missing a Fusion? So I don't think this was the only... Oh no, I think it's just these two actually. Is this just full power Dragon Maids? Is there anyone that's actually played Dragon Maids in the past? Is there anything here that's missing? Nurse is missing, but her dragon form is there. Which one's Nurse? We're just going to search it. That'd be easier. Dragon Maid. Oh, if we can spell Dragon Maid, that would be a good start. This one. So we're missing this one. So if this card is normal or special summoned, you can target one level 4 low dragon monster from your graveyard, except that special summon it. At start the battle phase, return this card from the hand. If you do special level 7 dragon. Okay, so it's just Nurse that we're missing then. Just double check it's definitely not here. Not seeing it. I assume this is... Yeah, this is Nurse, because they're all anagrams. Yeah, so it looks like just Nurse is the only one that's missing. we'll probably get it since we get its evolved form. That would make sense. We don't have the cards that got leaked recently alongside the new Dragon Rulers, but those aren't even out in the OCG yet. Well, that's what I mean. Like I feel like it was months ago now we got the first like dinosaur cards that were like edited in the card database, and we still haven't got them, and that just makes me so sad. Because I've been waiting to play dinosaurs. I know dinosaurs probably aren't going to be very good, but I just want to play them, right? I just want to. But anyway, what else we got? We got some Morphtronic stuff. I don't know basically anything about the Morphtronics outside of like the original support. I do not know what like the modern Morphtronic cards do, so I'm not really one to talk about these. I know Telephon was like busted, right? There was like an infinite loop you could do with Telephon, and that is about it. That is about all I know of this. Then we get to the Tri-Brigade stuff. And again, my experience of Tri-Brigade is Master Duel right at the start, like Master Duel release. So like I know all about Revolt into Shurig. We know all about Rugal. We know all about Fajit. Like I know all of this stuff, right? I know all of these cards. And Tri-Brigade was a really fun deck. I think that of like the super meta decks when Master Duel came out, Tri-Brigade was probably the most fun, because all the rest of them were like, you know, it was Drytron and Eldritch and a bunch of like unfun bullshits that was either just a shit ton of negates or like a load of floodgates, and it was like, this is awful. But Tri-Brigade was like the one ray of hope there. So like I've always been quite a big fan of Tri-Brigade. We've had Overraptor plus UTC in the data for like 4 to 5 years. Dinos need some love. Exactly. We need dinosaur support. Waiting for the Vendread stuff that got leaked. I've never been like a huge Vendread fan. I don't dislike the cards like at all. Like I'm not against them. I've just never had like a big desire to play them personally. Brigades is kind of like Orcus for Beast, Wing Beast, and Beast Warriors. So I wouldn't be surprised if I see many decks that rely on these types. I mean, yeah, it wouldn't be too surprising. Morphtronic is basically a deck that makes infinite material as long as you have links and synchros to make, as it's balls to the walls combo as Yu-Gi-Oh gets. That's why I'd be surprised if Telephon came out. I don't know if there's any other cards that also do what, like similar things to what Telephon does. I'd be surprised if Telephon wasn't like Limit 1, like as soon as it came out. Really cool. Still playing it now in TCG with Fire King. I mean, Fire King's cool. So then we got some skills leaked, right? So Dragon of Pride and Soul. You can only use the skill first and second effects once per duel. 1. Can be activated before your normal draw in a turn where you would draw 1 card. Send all of your banished cards to the graveyard, as well as all the cards in your hand deck and extra deck, except a Dragon of Pride and Soul. So this is a 25 for 25. Must be special summoned from your hand, or must be special summoned from your hand while your opponent has 25 or more cards in their graveyard. While you have 25 or more cards in your graveyard, this card gains 2500 attack and defense. So this is really weird, right? Then randomly send to your opponent's graveyard at most 25 cards that are also in your graveyard from outside of your deck. You cannot activate cards or effects, and you cannot normal or special summon monsters until the end of the duel, except for this card. So it's literally, if you use this first effect, we're basically milling ourselves out, filling our opponent's graveyard and getting a 5,000, 5,000 and hoping that's enough to close the game. Or we just don't do this, and we just do this. We could just return Pride and Soul from your hand to the deck, draw 2 cards. I mean, it's probably not worth doing, but maybe, because the issue is we return this from your hand to the deck, then draw 2 cards, so you could just draw this out again. And Pot of Greed won't have you draw a brick most of the time, right? So, like, it's awkward. This is probably... Because there's a Pot of Greed skill in the game, right? There is literally a Pot of Greed skill. Like, an actual add Pot of Greed to your hand, but it's got, like, weird restrictions on it. This restriction is, you just have to play this guy in your deck. And then he becomes Pot of Greed, that also, if you draw after you've used the skill, is a fat brick. Right? Make it once per turn and we could talk about it. If it was once per turn, suddenly this is no longer really a brick. But then again, games can be over very, very quickly, like in just a couple of turns. So maybe it still would matter. I mean, it's weird. It's definitely a weird one. I don't know if it will catch on or not, to be honest. I'm like, you know, everyone in chat probably is a more well-versed speed player than I am. So, like, I mean, you guys tell me, do you think this skill's going to see a lot of play? The Pot of Greed skill only activates at turn 4 or something, and only if you have an elemental hero normal in the graveyard, so it's way worse. Ah, right. So this is way more generic. Way more generic. Is that Shui in the chat? Hello, Shui. Unless we get 3 copies. Even if we get 3 copies, is that going to be worth it? Gunkin, Suship, Shari subscribing with Prime. Whoa. That puts us one closer to our sub goal. Thank you so much, Shari. Speaking of Shari, we actually did save Shari's prediction for the top 10 decks in the Goha Rush Festival. Now, Shari, you were a little bit off. You were a little bit off.
Ship
I'm just going to say
just
that,
subscribed with Prime.
Because
so you're telling me
in your prediction, you said there would be 1 psychic in the top 10. It turns out there were 10 psychics in the top 10. So you were a smidge off, but at least you had the guts to make a guess, right? And to make a prediction. So you're telling me a dragon maid made this laundry. Yes, a dragon... Missed it. Could have been a dragon... There's like so many puns. There's so many puns. Like already that is a pun. That could have been like a double pun. Because then it's kind of consistent. And some decks have discard costs to get rid of the brick. Very true. Very true. I mean, I'll be interested to see if anyone does anything with this. But so far, eh. Then there's the Sakaki skill. This one's... Ugh. I was paid off by a big psychic to predict wrong. But yeah, hope you're having a good day. Shari, obviously we're almost finished covering our speed stuff, so once we get through these skills, we're kind of going to go into the rush stuff. You can only use the skill second effect once per turn, twice per duel. So at the beginning of the duel, add Pendulum Zones to your field, that's fine, and place an Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon and an Odd Eyes Rebellion Dragon face up in your extra deck. Okay. Return 1 card from your hand or field to your deck, then place in your Pendulum Zone 2 different Stargazer Magician, Time Gazer Magician, what's this? Xianke Magician? I don't know how to pronounce that one. And Shang. Because X is pronounced as an SH if it's Chinese. I'm pretty sure this is meant to be Chinese. This is Shang Magician from outside your deck. During a duel, you activate this effect. You can only normal or special summon Magician, Pendulum monsters, Odd Eyes monsters, Prawn Pan monsters. So this is just put these face up and then get scales. How do we use Rebellion? If you can Pendulum Summon level 7, you can Pendulum Summon this card. Okay, so you can just get this guy out for free. So basically, we can return a card from our hand or field to the deck. Then we just get to add these from outside of our deck. So we don't even have to play any of these in the deck as like bricks. And then we can just summon both of these for free. So, I mean... I mean, it's like 2 bodies that are big. The effects aren't like super relevant. I don't know. And it's kind of consistent. Some decks have discard costs. Oh, okay. I don't know if this is going to be great. I feel like something like Raging Pendulum just did a lot more. It doesn't look better than the other skills we already have. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel as well. It's kind of, eh. It's like Raging Pendulum. Yeah, I feel like Raging Pendulum just feels like it does more than this, though. Because, like, the bodies you get out are kind of whatever, right? Like, Rebellion Dragon on its own. Oh, but I didn't read the rest of it. If this guy's like summoned using XE's... Well, it's not going to be XE summoned, so that's irrelevant. If this card in the Monster Zone destroy a battle or card effect, you can destroy as many cards in your Pendulum Zone as possible. If you do, place this card in your Pendulum Zone. That also seems kind of whatever. I mean, I guess if you have a way to, like, summon it, it'll be fine. Restriction, monster in deck. With the scales, you can make Raging Dragon. I mean, yeah. I don't think this is probably going to see a ton of play. Maybe I'll be wrong. Then we got Banish Clear. You can only use the skill's first effect once per turn, thrice per duel. Return 8 of your banished cards randomly to your deck. I could see PK monsters being used in this. Potentially. So it's guaranteed Raging Dragon, but with way more restrictions. Banish. I don't know. How are we going to see Banish Clear? Is there any deck that's going to give a crap about Banish Clear? Because they're randomly. It also has to be 8. It's not like up to 8. It's like exactly 8. I don't know. Maybe there's something with this that I'm just like unfamiliar with. No draw shit skill. I mean, basically, right? Why specifically 8? So then we'll do the Jade and Yuki skill. So this is the big one that we've been seeing a lot of people talking about. So you can use this skill's second effect once per turn. This skill can be used if you have at least one Rainbow Dragon in your deck. So you've already got to kind of have a brick, right? During this duel, you can only special summon Elemental Hero, Neos, Neospatian, and Yubel monsters. So, you know, we can only use Jaden cards. So we can send one Warrior monster or one level 10 monster from your hand or field to the graveyard. Then set an Elemental Hero Neos or set one Elemental Hero Neos, one Rainbow monster, so that'd be the Rainbow Dragon, or Wind Arm Dragon monster from your deck to your graveyard to your hand. Its battle position can be changed. If that monster is Arm Dragon Thunder, level 10, it is treated as being summoned by an Arm Dragon monster with 1000 plus attack. Then you can add a Polymerization from outside of your deck to your hand. You can also add Super Polymerization from your deck to your hand. So this is weird, right? So the idea is this is supposed to facilitate getting out Rainbow Neos and Armed Neos, but it also just gives you Poly and lets you grab Super Poly from your deck. This is just like so much weird stuff, right? So for anyone that like doesn't know, let's go and take a look at our... So we've got Rainbow Neos. So made using Neos and Ultimate Crystal Monster, which is going to be Rainbow Dragon. Must be fusion summoned with the ability to use material. Commit special into the ways. Once per turn, you can activate this effect. Send one monster for you control to the graveyard. Shuffle all monsters your opponent controls into the deck. Send a spell trap you control to the graveyard. Shuffle all spell traps your opponent controls into the deck. Send one card from the top of your deck to the graveyard. Shuffle all cards in your opponent's graveyard back into the deck. So it's kind of a big asshole card. He's kind of one of those like, I'm going to hit the board and just be really annoying kind of cards. Oh my god, Jaden eating glue with Super Poly. Who could have guessed? Glue Bell. Do you know the card named Gizmek Orochi? Yes, I do know of Gizmek Orochi. It also gives Arm Dragon level 10 the pop effect. Rainbow Neos is final card. I hate the skill that just adds Super Poly. Yeah, Super Poly is like it's such a frustrating card, right? No matter when it's used, it's always just kind of a pain in the ass. Konami not giving Jaden a skill that adds Super Poly. Challenge impossible. Remove all disruption before it comes out, basically. And then the other one is Armed Neos, which is this one. So it's made using Neos and an Armed Dragon monster. If this card is special summoned, you can choose a Dragon monster in your graveyard. Destroy all monsters your opponent controls with an equal or lower level than it. When this card destroys a monster by battle, you can make this card gain the following effects. During the main phase quick effect, you contribute this card to special summon an Elemental Hero Fusion monster from your extra deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. So this is pretty good. Ignoring summoning conditions is kind of strong. And then obviously we can also get out the, Arm Dragon Thunder level 10. So we can get this guy out. Again, summoned correctly, right? So if this card was special summoned by the effect of an Arm Dragon monster, it gains the effects based on its own attack. So because it's 1000 plus, you'll gain all of its effects except the very last effect. So it gets, its name becomes Arm Dragon level 10, possession can't switch, distraction immunity from battle, and once per turn during your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can send one card from your hand to the graveyard, target one other card on the field, destroy it, and if you do, this card gains 1000 attack. So you could get this out, and it comes out set, so you can flip it up, your opponent gets a chance to interact with it. Then you can use its effect to pop a card. Then you can fuse it off into Armed Neos. And then Armed Neos, I guess, can do its thing. And then when it gets destroyed, tag out into like Rainbow Neos. Like there's so much weird shit going on. Regeki on legs for level 10s and lower. Gizmek Orochi banishes 8 cards. But like, do we have Gizmek Orochi in the right now? Like, is it in? Because we haven't got like leaks of it coming at the moment, right? Oh, we do. We have Okami. We have Yata. We don't have Orochi yet. So it's just like, I guess it could hint that this is coming out, I guess. Could be interesting skill. Gizmek skill, it doesn't because they have levels. Yeah, it doesn't work against like Lynx and XEs, because again, they have ranks and link ratings, not levels, so it won't work against that. I don't know, this skill... So, like, it seems relatively strong, but... Does it really matter? So you lose a card when you activate it. Then you get a free guy. You also get Poly, just added to your hand. And you get Super Poly. So you basically trade 1 for 3, so it's a +2. It's an immediate +2. It isn't a guaranteed summon. You'd still need... Because, like, you could grab, like, for example, Armed Dragon Thunder, right? But then you'd still need to get out a Neos, or have a Neos in your hand, or something, in order to complete the fusion. So, like, it's not a free complete fusion. Found out in TCG that you can overflow Origami Goddess. Interesting. She has an effect that isn't once per turn, where you gain 100 attack for every single heads, or actually doubles. Oh, we talking about... Yeah, because she's in Rush as well, I think. It's who I think it is. What was the name? Origami. Oh, no, this isn't who I was thinking of. Once per turn during your main phase, toss a coin. Got its heads if you do draw a card for every 2 heads. Each time a coin is tossed resolved and is on the field, double this card's attack for each heads. Yes, as long as you can keep flipping coins. Although it's going to take a lot of coin tossing to actually get it going. Alright, let's talk about Jesse Anderson's skill. So you can use this skill's second and third effects once per duel. During this duel, you can only normal or special summon Crystal Beasts and Rainbow Monsters, excluding special summons from the extra deck. Send 2 Crystal Beast monsters from your hand or field to the graveyard. Then add 2 Crystal Beast or Crystal Spell Traps from your deck to your hand, and send 2 Crystal Beast monsters from your deck to the graveyard. If your opponent controls a card while you control no cards, reveal Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragon in your hand to set a Crystal Spell Trap from your deck to your field. I don't really know enough about Crystal Beast to know if this is going to be remotely good. It doesn't sound good on paper. I don't know. Is there any Crystal Beast aficionados in the chat that know if this is going to be remotely good? I don't know enough about this deck, realistically. You should dye your hair green to match your profile pic. Ugh. I don't know about that, Zaki Boys. But also, welcome on in, Zaki Boys. This can set bounce for a pop. Also, the first part is a straight up +2. Add 2 Crystal Beast monsters. Is it a +2? Wait, assuming we're talking about the Crystal Beast stuff. We send 2 Crystal Beast monsters from your hand or field to the graveyard. Then we add 2 from our hand to our deck to our hand. Then we send 2 to the graveyard. That doesn't sound like a +2. That sounds like we're breaking even. Crystal Beast are garbage. I know there was like that gimmick where Jesse Cotton managed to top in a YCS with Crystal Beasts. But like, I assume we don't have all of that support, like all of that more modern support in the game yet. Crystal Beast gets a lot of crazy support cards, but still do nothing. Simply put them on the field as continuous spells and send them from there. But you have to still have a way to get them onto the field as continuous spells, right? So I don't know if that... Because, like, traditionally, they're on the field, they get destroyed, they become continuous spells, right? I don't know if they have, like, easy ways to just get them face up as spell cards. Summon Pegasus, plus put 1 in the spell trap, put them in the grip. I guess, yes, Pegasus would do it, right? But that would be a normal summon used. Just normal summon Pegasus and that's it. So what we're saying is, in order to use this, we just have to open one of our 3 Pegasuses, or Pegasi. Then we can use it, send both of them, grab 2 Crystal Beast spell traps, which is, like, fine. So we've now, what, +1'd, and we've used our normal summon. So it's like, what do we do from there? Like, I don't know what the Crystal Beast spell traps do. So, like, if they're really good, that could be really cool, right? Pegasus is essentially Stratos for Crystal Beasts. Well, that's... Yeah, kind of, right? If you have 2 searches for it. You have 2 searches for it. I mean, in which case, what? Assuming you have 3 copies of each, then you'd have like 9 cards, so you just have to find one of those 9 to get it going, but you still use your normal summon. Is that the Grand Harrier in the chat? Welcome, welcome. The Crystal Beasts also have a card that's just Pot of Greed. I know they have, what's it called? Rare Value, which is like send a face-up Crystal Beast in the spell trap to the graveyard to draw 2. But like, I still feel like we're throwing around all these words like, oh, it's a 3+2, and then it's not a 3+2. And it's like, oh, they have a Pot of Greed. It's like, they have a conditional Pot of Greed. But so for example, if we're summoning out Pegasus, getting another card to our spell trap zone, and then we're sending them both for our skill, we now have gone back to having 0 face up, which means now rare value doesn't do anything. It's like, it's a weird one. Conclave is a bounce. Oh shit, it's the Rush hater. Everyone hide. But yeah, I watched some of your stream yesterday, Grand, where you were playing the Hieratics. Hieratics look cool. They don't look particularly strong, but they look cool. They look cool. All of this works in my head, so of course it works in the game as well. True, true. And also, Paris is like one of the most distinguished, I suppose, like speed players. So like everything he says has to be true, right? He's got the prestige behind him, right? He's got the evidence of him having performed well at a high level for all these years. Golden rule is that in the leaks, places 2 crystals into spell trap with a body. Okay, okay. They are cool. They are cool. They are a pile of bricks. I look forward to the skill buff plus seals. When we get seals, again, I still have this theory that Konami don't want to give us any more Dragon Link tools than they have to, which is the reason we don't have Striker Dragon yet. That's my like harebrained theory. They aren't cool, they're a pile of bricks. There we go. I was going to say it was a bit weird you were saying that, actually. Golden Rule counts as a crystal spell trap, so it searches it. Surely Paris is an idiot savant. I prefer a Herald Divert. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not convinced by this skill doing much. And then we have the Dragon Maid skill, right? Dragon Maids! Dragon Maids, everyone! Dragon Maids! It's a bit hard to see because the chat's there. Let's get rid of the chat for a sec. That would probably be the easiest way to... Alright, so this skill's second and third effects can be used once per duel if your deck contains 8 or more Earth, Wind, Water, Fire, Dragon Maid monsters with different names. That's already quite weird, right? Because if we go back up, usually you'd play like all the little ones, and we also can't use the dark and light ones, right? Because this is everything that isn't dark and light. So we have to play 8 different ones with different names. So let's do a quick count. We got Earth, we got Wind, we got a Water, we got a Fire. So that's 4 of them. And then we're also going to need Kitchen. We're going to need Laundry, so that's 6. We're going to need Parlor. And then we're going to need the one we don't have here, Nurse. And then by then we will have... Wait, because none of those are light, right? Because Parlor's... Yeah, it's Wind. Yeah, so basically... We have to use all of those except Chamber. None of the big ones were Chamber, right? 1, 2, 3, Fire. Yeah. Okay, so we'd have to do that. So we have to run at least a single copy of all the little ones and all the big ones. And we can do what we want with Chamber. Chamber just doesn't matter, right? But if we have that, you cannot normal or special summon monsters with a level except for Dragon Maid monsters. Okay, so we can play whatever links we want, we can play whatever XEs we want, but we can't play, for example, any synchros, we can't play any fusions that aren't exactly for this deck, right? Send 1 dragon monster from your hand to the graveyard, add a Dragon Maid monster from your deck to your hand. This basically means we can, for the most part, we're probably going to be putting back the big dragons and getting out a little dragon, but like we could do the inverse as well. And then if your opponent controls a card while you control no cards, we can set a Dragon Maid downtime from your hand, deck, or graveyard to your field. It can be activated this turn. So this is, you can target 1 Dragon Maid monster you control, then activate one of these effects. Return that card to the hand. If you do, add a Dragon Maid card from your deck to your hand, except Dragon Maid downtime, or return it to the hand. If you do, return a spell trap from your opponent controls to the hand. So it's multifaceted, right? You can either use this to get rid of one of your opponent's back row, or you can use this to grab a Dragon Maid card. And since it's card, that's spell, trap, or monster, which just make it a lot more versatile. This actually seems like it's not bad, right? And the big reason for that is that our fusion monsters are actually pretty good. Right, during the standby phase, you can special summon a level 9 or lower Dragon Maid monster from your hand or graveyard. When your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you can negate the activation if you do destroy that card. So it's negate and pop, and it's a card or effect, right? So this isn't just when they activate a card, it's when they can also activate an effect, and it's Omni. Also, after that, return this card to the extra deck, and if you do special summon a House Dragon Maid, so then we float into House Dragon Maid. Well, I say float, you know, we go into it. Once per turn, during the standby phase, you can target one other Dragon Maid monster you control, especially summon one Dragon Maid monster from your hand or graveyard in defense position whose level is one higher or one lower level than it. Whenever another face-up dragon monster you control returns to your hand, except during the damage step, you can target one monster your opponent controls and destroy it. So again, if we get this out, and then we use our trap card, our downtime, well, guess what? We can put a card back in our hand, which then triggers Kitchen Dragon Maid, right? So, like, there's so much stuff you can do with this. I feel like this is probably going to be okay, right? I don't know if it's going to keep up with all the other stuff that we've got going on in the meta right now, but it definitely seems at least decent, right? Break glass in case of wanting money. Dragon Maids, one of each. Skill is very mid. Downtime isn't that good, and maids are just Shiro Turbo. See, the thing is, I think in a vacuum, the Dragon Maid deck is like fine, right? But again, it's comparing it to all of the current decks, right? Like, does Dragon Maid work into Predaplants? Does it work into Lyrillus? Does it work into Ghost Trick, right? I don't know. I would have to get my hand in the cards. Realistically, I'm not going to invest into Dragon Maids, so I'm not going to know until I see tournament results, right? Realistically. Dragon Maid is going to be cool after QCTB. You just need to meet those conditions. You can play more and others. I mean, yeah. Well, I think that... Well, that, I think, says we're going to have also Nurse. I mean, yeah, we basically have to have Nurse, right? To be fair, the Fire one... Well, I suppose you don't have to. Well, because they have to be different names, right? So, yeah, we have to have Nurse, right? To be fair, the Fire one, I think, is crazy. Which one was the Fire one? We talk about the little one or the big one as well. So there's Kitchen, which is... If we can get that. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can add a Dragon Maid monster from your deck to your hand, except Kitchen Dragon Maid. Then send one Dragon Maid monster from your hand to the graveyard. Start the battle phase, you can return this card. And then there's this one. Quick effect, you can discard this card. Then target one Dragon Maid monster you control, gains 2000 attack. At the end of the battle phase, you can return this card from the hand if you do special summon level 3. I mean, it's definitely good. I remember Parlor being good. I can't remember what Parlor does, though. This card is normal or special summoned. You can send one Dragon Maid card from your deck to the graveyard, except Parlor Dragon Maid. At the start of the battle phase, you return this card. Just puts one in the graveyard. I mean, I'm interested to see how Dragon Maids perform. I think regardless of whether or not it ends up being good, it will see representation in tournaments, right? I would not expect it to not make an impact. Even if that impact is there's just like 6 players that bring it to every tournament because they like their Dragon Maids. Looks like a good skill. Pure Maids isn't really good as it's just one Omni, and without the very new cards, it's very mid. You got to remember though, right? Tachyon, for a while there, was just one Omni, and it was a really, really strong deck, right? Now, to be fair, there is a bit more to it than that. It's a very oversimplified, like, opinion. But one Omni can be really good. Is it good enough right now? Probably not. Like, because otherwise we'd be seeing, like, Infinity doing a lot more. Tachyon wasn't one Omni at all. Was it not? It was an Omni. You know, you could, I mean, you could turn off all of your opponent's effects during the battle phase. But, like, Tachyon drew 3 cards, so it was an Omni and 2 staples, usually, or Sanafond. That's a Floodgate. See, maybe I'm in the minority here, right? I never saw, at least back when, like, you know, Tachyon was, like, tier 0, I never ran into Sanafond that much. But, you know, I got to COG, but that doesn't mean, you know, COG is kind of free if you play the game enough, right? If you know what you're doing, you've played it before. So, you know, I never played it in tournaments. Well, I played against one Tachyon player in a tournament one time, because I barely play speed tournaments. So, you know, the upper echelon might be very different from the dregs that I'm playing against. Play non-engine. I mean, like I say, I think this deck is going to see play. I think this will see tournament play. We will see people pick it up. We will see people experiment with it. And I think it's just one of those decks that a lot of people make it their pet deck and they'll bring it to tournaments regardless. I would be surprised if that wasn't the case. No Tri-Brigade skill because it's 2-based. Rest in peace. People can play through one Omni. I know I played Hieratic. I see. I mean, yeah, playing through one Omni is not, like, difficult. Right? But, like, so the original deck would make, like, you'd make Spheres, you'd make Shio, and then you'd get, like, Tidying out, right? So you'd have Tidying to bounce, you'd have the Omni, and then you'd have Sphere for, like, another bounce. But, like, we don't have Spheres, right? So, like, I mean, there is that, right? There is no Tidying? There is also Tidying? Yeah, I mean, that's what we were just saying, right? Tidying is a good card, and especially because you can get it immediately off of Dragon Maid, Chamber, so you just go, like, Chamber into Tidying. I played a bit of Dragon Link, by the way, which is the majority of my experience with this deck was me playing Dragon Link. So, like, that is kind of it. We will get Spheres, bro. Trust will get Spheres. It's coming. It's coming. Stop the cap. It's going to be here if you believe it. We just have to keep believing. We just believe in the Spheres. But yeah, that's kind of it for speed. That's all of our speed stuff. So we're now gonna go into Rush. And I think the best place to start with Rush is probably the GRF. We'll hit refresh on this because probably still do decks added. But GRF, the Gohart Rush Festival, just concluded this prior weekend. I personally did not get a ton of time to play in it. I think I played a total of about 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours in the entire second stage. So I did not play a ton. I was basically busy all of Friday and all of Saturday. I got to play a little bit on Sunday, but that was the extent of my experience with it. I personally had a great time. I won most of my games. It was quite a calm climb up. But when you're not fighting like the upper echelons of the player base, and after the like top 100 has already been very much like solidified from the first few days, realistically, I wasn't going to be against like a lot of very powerful people. So we just kind of cruised through. We had a great time with it personally. I couldn't play much either. Got 111th still. Pog. Well, congratulations, Ursus. Is that JD Scrub in the chat as well? Bruv, I need to submit my decks to GRF. Yeah, chop chop, Harris. Chop chop. So now the big thing with this, and immediately on day one, people kind of knew this was the Roman event, right? This was the Psychic GRF, which I think a lot of people that had kind of got their pulse on the meta, a lot of people that had played the deck and a lot of the matchups kind of already assumed this would be the case. Like going in, I did think Psychic was the strongest deck. It was the deck that I personally had performing the best on. It was the deck I thought was the most fun, had the highest ceiling. And a lot of the time when you lost on Psychic, it was because, or at least, you know, not in the mirror. It was because your opponent just, like, popped off. They got, like, this really crazy, like, turn one. They got, like, so much aggression so early. But that's not going to happen every single game, right? Got 369th, and felt really good about that. Congratulations, CZ. But this deck specifically, the one that got first and second and third, because they're all basically playing the exact same list, is playing the double Melody. Now, this is something I didn't expect. Double Melody, at least on paper, looks very bricky. We'll put the chat back up. I am not the biggest fan of the double Melody build. Not because I think it's bad. Of course not. Just because the idea of playing this deck with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tribute monsters. And then we're also playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 spell traps. So that means we only have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I mean, to be fair, 12 normals is like fine. But like when you're basically playing 18 non-normals, if you just open a really bad hand, which, to be fair, 18 of your cards aren't normal summons, I feel like you might just brick on this. Now, the skill does alleviate this, because you can send cards from your hand to the graveyard and grab, for example, a normal summonable monster and ice spot there. So you can try and like fix this up a little bit. I just feel like sometimes you're just going to open just like all 3 of these big level 7s and just be like, oh, uh-oh. Oh god, this is the trigger grand part of the stream. I kept saying it's doing well in PB rooms before the second stage, so I'm not surprised. I mean, the deck, I think going in, everyone kind of had the idea that Psychic was going to be a strong contender. I don't think people necessarily expected like 60% of the top 100 strong, but I think people definitely thought it would be one of the top ones. I tested Double Melody yesterday in Rush Weekly, and it was crazy. Yeah, I did manage to watch a big chunk of that, Hans. Congratulations on how you placed in that. Y'all haven't resolved Melody 4 times in a turn to feel the adrenaline it gives you. The thing is, Melody. So anyone who let's hop over to YouTube quick. That's what I want to go. Let's go over to YouTube. Don't worry about that. That's OnlyFans thing. So there was. Christ, what was it even called? So it's the Melody Loop is what we want to have a look at. Now I've got to find it is the issue. JB Yoshi Duels probably has a good one. It's only 4 minutes long. Let's mute that. So there is like different loops you can do with Melody where you just activate it again and again and again. So like anyone that's played like OG Rush will know of the Thunderbolt Melody loops where you just use it again and again and again and again and just keep spinning back your opponent's entire board. So like this is like we're not like too. This isn't like a foreign concept, right? Obviously, you know, people that have only played in Duel Links aren't going to kind of have the context for this. Got top 1,000 after playing for 20 hours total. I'll take that. Well, good job, JD Scrub. I opened 2 Melody, 2 Upper, but went second, so could unbrick and actually won that game. Nice. I felt 2 Melody bricks, less than 0 Melody. Turns out 2 Performer plus Melody is nice boards. Mellow into nice boards. I think second place player played 1 Melody, and he said he actually think 2 Melody was correct. Yeah, it's a weird one. I mean, we have... Where were we? Over here. Well, here we have... well, we only have the first and third, I guess, at the moment. Yeah, it's a weird one, right? I feel like I always try to brick as little as possible. So, like, playing 3 double tributes. Already, the original version I liked was the build that Jorfio played, which I don't know if Jorfio's... Yeah, Jorfio's is here. This was basically the build that I played. Like, this was, like, my original build. And it only played the 1 Prima. And I still felt like this felt really, really good. And the only games that felt, like, bad were the games where I'd open, like, multiple Psychic, Upper, and Prima. And other than that, the deck, like, felt really strong. So, like, bumping it up to 3, because already we started to see the double Prima deck, which was, like, doing okay. But, like, Melody just, I don't know, it just feels so bricky. Like, again, I haven't, like, tested this build, so we'll have to wait and see what it actually feels like, but... I said my piece elsewhere. Not going to hijack someone else's opinion time. I mean, you feel free to... We all just chat here. We all just yap grind. You can say whatever you want, mate. Got top 10k after playing 3 to 4 matches an hour before it ended. Wanted to go all in, but life got in the way. It's one of these things. Even if I had all the time in the world, I still wouldn't want to grind this out. I just don't really have the drive to. I like playing in the competitive scene. I like playing during a Goha Rush festival, but I don't want to invest like a stupid amount of time. That's kind of where I always look at it. It looks super bricky, but yeah, once you play the build, it's not. There's no going back. Okay, just put in my deck list. I was 18th. Hopefully, they notice fast keck. I mean, if you... Because we also have... So we have the user at U1444, also known as Cat, who is a Korean player, has already compiled a database, or, you know, a spreadsheet that has a lot of the decks in here. So, unfortunately, your deck is not in here yet. Paris playing Void Velg. Unfortunately, this is not a very good angle for this. There we go. There's Paris. Paris the third, clearly playing Void Velg. Because there's no way any information on this could be incorrect. But it's interesting that we have this, right? Because the other decks... so we can scroll down this and have a look, but like I do think this is a little bit easier to like just see the compiled information. So if we swap this back over again. I was actually on Psychic. The Void Veil was just the last 5 games. No, it's in the spreadsheet now, Paris, which means you were, in actual fact, playing Void Veil. You might not have realized it, but you were playing Dark Galaxy the entire time. Okay? Otherwise, it would be there in deck 2, but it's not, right? So this is just how it works. But if we look at the breakdown, 62 Psychic, 23 Dark Galaxy, 6 Metarion, 5 Dragiastar, 2 Hero, 1 Light Galaxy, 1 Worm Fusion, 1 Worm Maximum, 1 Join Tech, 1 Aggro, 3 Unknown. So we already know that one of these Unknown was Cyber Dragon. We should probably just assume the other 3 are, or the other 2 are also Cyber Dragons. So what does this tell us, right? First off, Psychic, insane, right? Absolutely insane that they have done quite so much. In fact, the entire top 17 was entirely on Psychic. And then even in the top, what's this, 24, there was only 1 non-Psychic, which was also a Psychic, believe it or not, because Paris was actually playing Psychic. So just top 24 is just Psychic, right? It'll be fixed. If he won't fix it, I'll message him. Yeah. So, like, it's just nuts, right? Void Veil 23. Again, take away a couple. This isn't 100% accurate, but it's whatever. And there's going to be, like, other decks as well. But still, 23 is a respectable number. This was kind of expected. Metarion only at 6. Now, a big part of this is going to be because Psychic does have quite a good matchup into Metarion, but not too surprising. Dragiastar being at 5 is actually probably a lot more surprising. I don't think many people expected Dragiastar to do so well, especially because Dragiastar is quite a good matchup into Dark Galaxy, but maybe not as good a matchup into Psychic. So, like, that's very interesting. One Dragius was Fusion, Lightstar, Metarion, Pile. Well, then it's just cheating. Metarion trash, bro. Psychic literally better than Metarion. I mean, yeah, that goes without saying, but still. Oh, you'd still expect it to be doing a little bit better than this. Because it's a weird one, right? Now, tournament results are never going to be 1-to-1 with GRF, right? We've said this a bunch before. GRF accelerates the meta. People play so many games in such a small space of time. You filter out the bad players, or like the players that aren't going to be part of that upper echelon. So the top 100 theoretically should all be players that kind of know what they're doing. When you get to the top 100, you basically only play against other people in the top 100. So you have to build your decks and now tech it out to better reflect the meta at your current bracket. And again, when you're playing against really good players, you then need to also like tech against that. So more specifically, we accelerate the meta. So again, tournaments are very slow by comparison, right? Tournaments, you only play a couple of events a week. You only play a handful of games during those events. It is not going to be the same thing. It's like the meta will develop at a much slower rate during tournaments when compared to a GRF. That being said, we have not been seeing Psychic winning that much during this format, right? So now there's a lot of like second place finishes, quite a lot of second place finishes, but we've only actually now seen Psychic's second tournament win. If we go by just wins alone, Metarion still has the most tournament wins, followed by Dark Galaxy, which just goes to show like just how different it can be. Now, this could be for like multiple different reasons, right? One, not everyone has figured out the Psychic deck yet. It does require a bit more brain power to play, so maybe not all the best Psychic players are actually competing in the tournaments. Maybe they'll get knocked out earlier, for example. Two, sometimes, your decks can just get a little bit unlucky. Sometimes you will just lose a game that maybe otherwise you would have won if you replayed it 10 times, right? It's one of those things. It's a worse version of Psychic. If there were more people taking this seriously, I'd expect it would be way less Metarion, not gonna lie. It's one of those weird ones. Metarion, I feel like it's a different deck, right? Like they kind of still do different things. Metarion is arguably can have better OTK potential, but you do need to have a way more custom hand than Psychic does. At the same time, Metarion isn't affected by back row quite as much as Psychic is. I feel like all of the 3 trap cards that we have right now, like the 3 good traps, all harshly affect Psychic, and they don't affect Metarion in quite the same way. The GRF format favors decks like Psychic. In tourneys, deck/players can get lucky. Also, in tourneys, no one played the correct Psychic lists. I played Melody once, but only got top 4. The correct was 2 Melody. I mean, not every single Psychic player in top 100 GRF was playing Melody, though, right? So you'd still think that you would still have players performing a little bit better. Metarion needs a way to get Fusion. If you don't just find Fusion, it sucks. Metarion's sometimes really slow on turn 2. If you've got Reactor and Setting going second, feels really bad. I saw Psychics with 1 Melody a lot in point battle rooms. 2 Melody was something they came up with during GRF. Yeah, I think that makes sense as well. Like, we did see the 1 Melody see a bit of play beforehand, but the double Melody thing was definitely new to GRF. But it's an interesting development, right? Because the question now becomes, what are we expecting to happen to Psychics, right? Well, I suppose we don't need to cover that. I mean, should we cover that now? I guess. So, it would be surprising if Psychic didn't get hit after this, right? You can't be 62 of the top 100 with a, some caveat there and not get hit on the following ban list. Realistically, they're going to get a hit. So the question is going to be, how are they going to get hit? I've seen a lot of people have a lot of different opinions about cards that should be hit. Some people are a lot more harsher than others. In my opinion, Psychic is a little bit too strong, but I don't think it's like a toxic deck. I don't think it like ruins the format. I think there's plenty of counterplay. I think there are ways to do stuff around it. The issue is that the deck is just... It's a little bit like... I don't even know what like the word is. Like it's arguably the most fun deck in the game right now. And I think because of that, I would really hate to see it get absolutely destroyed by the ban list. Psychic is going nerf. Almost certainly. Almost certainly. God forbid Girl deck gets 62 out of 100 tops. I think any deck got 62 out of 100 tops, it would get a nerf. The question again becomes, how harshly do you nerf it? So I'm hoping it doesn't get like too big of a nerf, but I'm expecting a nerf. One of the things that I've seen people say is maybe we hit Prima. Maybe we hit Psychic Upper. It's a difficult one. It is a difficult one. Because already we've seen people go down to 1 bear, right? Where is Light Galaxy? Light Galaxy is Galactica. So we had a total of 1. It's also the most skill expressive deck. Yeah, I agree with that as well. I think Psychic is, again, very skill expressive. And to be fair, in Rush, there's not a lot of skill expression. The game is still very simple. Because of the lack of back row, you don't really have to play around stuff very often. So any skill expression in Rush, especially in Rush Duel Links, is appreciated. So whenever we get a deck that we do actually get to feel like, oh, I can actually outplay my opponent, it does feel really nice. I know a lot of people will just be like, well, if you want, if you want skill expression, you shouldn't play Rush. I think that's a bit of an L take. There has been a lot of very skillful metas, especially in the OCG. It's just the Duel Links experience for